Both guys dealt with some injuries in their last couple of seasons, but when right are key players, that is all we've had so far. 2 hours on the Broncos front.
Yeah, 2 hours on the Broncos front and the rest of the week to go. So if you're expecting this team to be a big player, that's not going to happen. If you're looking at this team with some disappointment, well, get as offended as you like, because this is the way they're going to do it. They're not going to overpay. They're not going to make these big splashy moves. The players that they could have gone splashy on are almost all gone, except for Justin Reed, who I believe and hopefully is still available.
As of like 30 seconds ago when I was looking at all the insiders.
Okay, as of 30 seconds ago, Justin Reed was still available. So outside of him, do you see any splashy moves on our go-get board that are left? No.
Would Juwan Johnson be considered that?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's a wave 2, wave 3 guy, in my opinion. Now, he's probably wave 2. I feel like, but that's at best he's a wave 2
maybe
guy.
This is my life of like, I live in Broncos country and I'm so desperate for the touch of a tight end.
Yeah.
It would feel splashy to me. Right?
The touch of a tight end.
Yeah.
Gonna leave that one alone.
I've got some friends that are so desperate for the touch of a woman that they would do about anything.
You don't have to put Kev's business in the streets like that. Come on, man. It's lunchtime.
Sorry,
Not cool,
Kev.
What are you doing,
I'm
man?
over here eating my Chipotle, and I get shots taken at me.
I know. Wait, you got Chipotle?
Yeah, you want some?
Yeah, we didn't. We weren't off.
Nobody offered me.
Hey,
Anyway.
I was asked if I want Chipotle today, and I said yes.
Wow. By Speedback?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, we don't every day. So when we tell him,
okay.
we bring it.
Okay. Well, see, now I feel like Broncos fans feel with Kev with the Chipotle. What? They signed who?
Yeah.
Why are they signing all the guys? Most of the top-tier free agents are staying with their teams.
That's what I mean. Like, if you look around the league, all right, the Steelers added DK Metcalf. That's got to be the biggest one so far.
And Devontae Adams was already out there because
yeah.
he was released, and so the Rams get him. So we really got the largest news, the biggest news, the most exciting news has already happened. It happened Saturday and Sunday. So today, it feels more like a Wave 2 day, even though it's Wave 1 and the first day of the tampering period. Legal tampering, illegal tampering, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So most of the top-tier free agents are staying, and the Broncos are scratch and dent bin. That's what they're looking at right now, whether it's Evan Ingram or anybody else.
Do you think by the end of today, have they added anybody that's not their own free agent?
Yes.
Do you think it's Evan Ingram?
Perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I would lean more towards. Because you said earlier, you get there, you just do the physical. Hey, are you right? Here's what the role is.
Yep. You will already have known the market because there's totally never any sort of tampering. So no agent would ever kind of pre-shop his client. That never would happen. So if you're Evan Ingram and if your shoulder's right and the Broncos offer is good, you're going to know your market. And then it's a decision of like, okay, what do you want to do? And if you're Evan Ingram, playing for the Denver Broncos, being the joker, being the pass-catching tight end, Adam Troutman's going to block. Nate Atkins is going to block.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. The guy that's going to catch a pass, like, I'm not saying 100, but let's put the number at 70. 70 passes for Evan Ingram? That sounds pretty nice.
That is pretty damn good. Now, he's 30, and he's going to be 31 in September when the season's getting underway, and he's gotten paid, man. He's coming off of a 3-year, $41 million deal. I mean, we're talking like low deals of a year, $11 million, a year, $9 million early on before he signed the big extension, then obviously drafted by the Giants. That's calculated into the draft equation. But what's it going to cost for a guy like Evan Ingram? So the Broncos, who have already spent $26 million of their, 41.2 that's available, what's it going to cost for a guy like Evan Ingram? It feels like you get Evan Ingram, you're coming up pretty close to the end of the... Again, they're not big, but for us, the bigger names and deals that are going to be done.
Yeah, so then the question then becomes, what other moves would be out there to free up salary cap space?
You still haven't addressed inside linebacker.
What's that mean for Alex Singleton?
I mean, it's that.
Kev, what's the number if they get rid of Singleton? Isn't it $5 million? Don't they free up $5 million in
space?
It
was something like that.
Yeah. So this is what happens when you get out and you're shopping and you're like, wait a second, we don't have enough money. How can we get the money? Well, how you can get the money is either reworking someone's deal or releasing someone that has some dead cap savings. And maybe that's Alex Singleton. Now, do you want to do that? And how did we get here to Monday 2 hours into the free agency period, and Cody Barton might be your best inside linebacker option, the guy you've already got. So do they add someone that's not their own by the end of today? Yes, I do believe so.
What if I were you be Ingram and his agent and I'm the Broncos, and I say $30 million for 3 years? Is that enough?
Probably not.
And that gets the Broncos. If that's not enough, let's just say that's the number because it's easy to add up. Right. You're at $36 million. You have $5 million more to spend, and you haven't talked about running back, and you haven't talked about inside linebacker.
I would say this, and I say this with great care. Let's not act like the salary cap is some sort of boogeyman, right? Because Evan Ingram, your average annual salary is $2 million, but we're going to pay you a $10 million a year signing bonus. Whatever that number is, they've got the richest owners in the league. So, Greg, get the checkbook ready if you need to, because there's always ways to circumvent that. You mentioned how the Saints got that with Derek Carr.
I was just going to say, you give him $20 million for this season. Yep. That's all the guarantee, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, see you later.
And your cap hit is, $1 million, whatever the number is. Whatever the lowest number possible is, everything else is a bonus. You run it out there one time, not necessarily on a prove-it deal, but just on a like, hey, we really need this to work type of deal.
Like prove health, right?
Sure.
Prove your body can hold up.
Right. And maybe there's some incentives further, which, again, are salary cap savings. You can put them as incentives. Hey, play in 9 games. Play in 10 games. Play in 17 games. And then now another $1 million or $2 million kicks in. So incentive for the player, salary cap savings for the Broncos. So, yes, we are running up against that number, which they will. But I also want to caution everyone, like, it's not the big bad wolf, boogeyman. How can they possibly? Yeah, it's actually kind of easy.
Okay. Can the Broncos start to do that stuff until they have to wait until March 12th when the official league year starts?
Yeah, before you.
When they can restructure all that crap. And that's that's Wednesday. That's when this actually starts going on. Yeah.
So you have some plans in place, all these sorts of things.
Okay.
So there's stuff brewing over there. I know the news isn't as hot as heavy as people would want, but they're working over there at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit.
I will say this, I shouldn't be disappointed that the news isn't coming in at the rate that I think we all want it to come in, but I feel that. I didn't expect anything to go crazy today at 10 a.m. with the Denver Broncos. I don't expect anything to go crazy tomorrow with the Denver Broncos. This is just kind of the world that they're in. Like I said, next year, they're going to have a bunch of money to spend and then figure out what you do with some of these guys wanting extensions. But now that it's here and I'm seeing, the big news of the DKs and what's going on, I'm like, I sure wish they were a little bit more of a player. It would have been great today had they just said, Ingram's in the building, we offered him a contract, he accepted, and that's the player that we've got to start free agency.
Yeah, done and done. But you're not in that position of the Carolina Panthers to throw around a bunch of money willy-nilly. So because of that, they're going to have to be smart with what they do, and that's exactly how George Paton and Greg Penner want it. Sean Payton, probably a little bit more emotional, probably a little bit more, we've seen New Orleans and the salary cap hell that they're in. That's caused by Sean Payton and his best friend, Mickey Loomis. So, yeah, it's good to have George and Greg to be like, all right, Sean, we know you're excited about player X, but we need to work with the budget here.
Okay. So I'm Sean, is what you're saying.
Yes, basically.
And you're George, chill out, man. The salary cap, you and Will Peterson. Salary cap's not even real. We'll figure this out.
Can I be Greg?
Yeah, actually, you should be Greg.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll be Greg.
You're not
what's my superpower? I'm rich.
When I walked by George in the locker room, he's a shorter guy. You can tell there's some late nights and early mornings going on in his life.
Yeah.
He looks like he deserves a well-rested vacation.
Yeah.
You're well-rested.
Well, and Greg looks like,
It looks like about $77 billion is what he looks like.
I would say $1 million, but it's much more than $1 million.
That would be an insult to Mr. Penner.
Exactly. $1 million?
Yeah. You're a few short of that. So that's where we're at in the NFL. We have seen some of the big names go. Nick Bolton's going back to the Chiefs, as you said. Chris Godwin's going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yep. We watched Jamin Sherwood go back to the Jets. This after Nick Bond re-upped with the Eagles. It has been a very, outside of DK Metcalf moving, I think that's kind of been the biggest bleep piece that is going to catch your attention.
Yeah.
That's pretty much been it.
Yeah, so the NFL, kind of not really moving the needle much today, based on everything already happened over the weekend. And your larger name free agents have all essentially stayed with their teams, which goes back to the Mike Evans thing. Well, if they're so good, why is their team, by the way, the Panthers, this just happened as I hit refresh on my browser. The Panthers got Trayvon Moehrig, the Raiders safety.
Okay, so he's now off. Well, that was a Mike Kliss suggestion.
3-year, $51 million contract.
Okay.
The Panthers have won free agency. We're 2 hours in.
How much money have the
Hold on. Milton Williams is not going to Carolina. He's actually going to New England.
Whoa.
So there's a little bit of a switch there.
Okay.
They were working on a deal, and then now he's going to New England per Ian Rappaport.
Okay.
I mean, good job on Milton Williams' part. You use leverage whenever you have it, and I'm sure he got a better payday or guaranteed some sort of situation improved to go there to New England. New England, I feel like New England thinks they're a player in some of this sooner rather than later.
Well, they also have, what was their cap space before today, Kev? I think it was over $100 million.
Yeah,
it was Carolina number 1 and then New England number 2. So the teams with a lot of money, they're spending a lot of money. And if you're New England, you do have an accelerant in Drake May. The Broncos have an accelerant in Bo Nix. They just have a different mindset on how they're wanting to build things. And honestly, and there was someone did a Substack on this yesterday, and if I could remember who it was, I'd shout him out. So I read this long Substack about how to build a team the right way. And free agency, as I've mentioned several times today, it's not the way to win a Super Bowl. Free agency and spending all this money, that's not the way to win a Super Bowl at all whatsoever. You have to use trades. Utilizing trades is now a new way and the second best way. But still, that's why it's not a crapshoot, Mike Evans. The number one way to build a Super Bowl team, and this, whoever wrote the Substack went through and looked at all the Super Bowl champions over the last 20 years.
Holy cow.
The best way to build a Super Bowl team is draft and develop. Second best way is via trades, and then the third best way is being mindful in free agency. So the Broncos right now are draft and develop. They have done some trades. The JFM trade last year when they hosed the Jets.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty good trade. Real damn good trade to get John Franklin Myers here in the Mile High City. And then the final piece is just fill some holes in free agency. The holes are there. The holes are big in terms of they need an inside linebacker. They need more defensive tackle help. They need a safety. They need a running back. They need a tight end. I think I got them all. But guess what this draft has? A ton of running backs, a ton of tight ends, a ton of defensive tackles. Yeah, linebacker and safety they need to address. So I imagine they'll do that at some point. And no matter what they do, unless they were to get like 2 free agent tight ends, they're still taking a tight end in the draft, likely with the premium pick.
Yeah. And they're not going to get 2 tight ends in free agency.
They're just not out there.
They're all going to where they were. So I will say this. I don't have much pushback for what you said, but that draft and develop thing, that's why my timeline's a little further extended than yours for the Broncos, because I don't hate that idea at all. I, in fact, encourage that idea based off what the Broncos were for the 9 years previous. Tear it down, start over, draft, develop. But I've now watched for 2 straight years with Sean Payton leading the charge here, that his development process, it's about 1.5 years. You know what I mean? And he's shown me that. So it's about 1.5 years, and I am willing to give them that timeline.
And I know some fans were asking about Braxton Berrios, right? Well, if you don't get Chris Godwin, why don't you get Braxton Berrios? The Texans got him.
The Texans are all over the place.
1 year, $2 million.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, here's why whatever timeline you want needs to hit, because we mentioned the Patriots making moves. Could the Patriots go from a team that wasn't in the postseason to playoffs this year?
They also have the, 3rd or 4th pick again this year in the draft?
Yep. So could they get Travis Hunter and go to the playoffs this year in Drake May's second year? Yes. The Steelers got DK Metcalf, who's throwing them the ball. They're going to be a player for Aaron Rodgers? Like, what's going on there? So you have to look at it as, and I've said the Broncos are a playoff team. Because if they're not, it's an absolute huge disappointment.
You're 100% right.
They're a playoff team. My partner, Andrew Mason on Orange and Blue Today, says, no, you can't call him a playoff team.
Wait a minute.
It makes him uncomfortable. He's got old school rules.
Okay. They were literally in the playoffs.
Yes, but he feels like every year you start from zero.
Okay.
So I will say this, keeping that in mind, and every year you start from zero, you have to look at what the Steelers are doing, the Patriots are doing, the Bengals are doing, the Ravens are doing, like there's teams, the Chargers are doing, the Texans are doing, because you are in a mix with those teams. Buffalo and Kansas City notwithstanding, maybe Kansas City's back in that mix with you as well. They got Elijah Mitchell today. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So he'll be healthy for 6 games. So if you look at what that cluster of teams are doing, they're all working to get better. So you'd better hit, no matter what free agents that you get or draft picks that you have, your draft and develop plan, it had better work, because the teams that you're competing with for these playoff spots, they're getting better too.
Okay. All right, Broncos country, you let us know how you feel at 303-713-1043, RamosLaw.com text line. Are you upset that there haven't been a big signing today, or we haven't heard that Evan Ingram has a deal in front of him who's visiting the Denver Broncos? Again, put your name on it, tell us what you're thinking, and we'll give you a shout-out here on the show if you send in a good text message. We'll get to a Nuggets conversation, but real quick, Cecil, let's go to the Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche. What are you laughing at?
Kev could not wait to come in and X the board. You have ADD something? What's ADHD?
ADHD?
You have HDTV? He's got something.
Yeah.
Because he's so bothered. Poona Ford just signed with the Rams.
Oh, is that who it was? You said Rams in my ear, but I didn't hear the first part.
Yeah, Poona Ford just signed. So he literally leaves his duty of running the show to come in the studio to put an X next to Poona Ford's name. This ain't tic-tac-toe, girl. What are you doing?
You want me to put circles on
What if something happens to the board? What if something happens back there? You're over here with Poona Ford. He seriously hates that. I don't know why. I've discovered this about you, Kev. I've never seen this behavior before.
This is my favorite time of the year. I like free agency. I like the draft.
Okay, I like that.
By the way, my neighbor Chris texted me, also said 4. Because he heard us talking about him smacking Whitey on the hogback.
Oh, nice,
You got to come over and try out the clubs, man.
All right, I'm down. I'm down.
Telling you, it's great. You get a bucket of range balls.
Just hammer.
Go hit them, yeah.
I'm disappointed. Why aren't you more disappointed about you? It was your guy. It was your guy. Your idea. I really told you earlier. I
haven't
love
even
this
got to
name.
my disappointment in that.
Oh, okay.
I'm just freaked out because Kev comes in here during the show. Kev, you've got your space. We've got our space during the commercial.
I'm going to come sit right next to you next segment.
It's Rams, you said?
I'm not Brandon Stokely.
Yeah, he's going to the Rams.
Yeah, going to the Rams.
I mean, now again, look what the Rams are doing.
Look at the Rams are doing. So in that same vein, we have to know that these teams are going for it. And I get it, Broncos country. You want to see your team go for it. And that's why I know the comments we're going to get on YouTube on this video. Hi, YouTube.
What up, YouTubers?
Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a vid. I understand. Y'all want to go for it. These other teams are going for it. They're just in different positions and have different philosophies than you.
When you also, it's a timeline. Like this time next year, when we're sitting here on March 10th of 2026, and there's an extra $30 million to be spent because Russell Wilson isn't hanging around haunting us from, the ghosts of quarterback pass. I don't want to say they, the Broncos, they'll be in a better position next year. I do believe there'll be players for some of these bigger names a year from right now. So it's all about the timeline, man. And I love what you keep saying, Cecil. Is anybody looking at the Carolina Panthers today going, look out, world.
What up?
What have they done to jump up in the NFL standings? No, they're not. They're still looked at as the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, they're still looked at as the Panthers. By the way, there's a Titans beat writer that's suggesting the Titans have interest in Zach Wilson.
He'd certainly have an opportunity to start there.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't really care about backup quarterback. I think it's a cool conversation for the couple of seconds that we have.
The Jarrett Stidham thing?
Yeah, but it is hopefully we never, after today, if we don't say Jarrett Stidham again, that's good. That's good for the Denver Broncos.
No, and I think that's why they chose Jarrett Stidham. One, Zach Wilson wants an opportunity to start. He would be more exciting because of his just natural skill set. He's got an opportunity to perhaps compete for a starting job, especially if Tennessee's interested, because here's what I do if I'm Tennessee. I go sign him. I don't draft a quarterback, because if he stinks, you're going to get a better quarterback class next year.
Yeah.
The march for Arch is on.
Yeah, see? I kind of want to see Wilson get another chance to start. I'd like to see what that looks like.
It's the Jets, man.
What if Tennessee drafts Travis Hunter?
Look at Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, both backups with the Panthers. that became respectable starters, and we'll see. Has Darnold landed anywhere, Kev? News is hot and heavy. Not in Denver. The Broncos news is hot and heavy, but the rest of the league is hot and heavy. So the Darnold thing, has he landed anywhere yet? Because there's rumblings that Seattle would be interested, and maybe that's how Seattle saves face, because what the hell is Seattle doing? But either way, we know it's, I'm not going to say lame. Lame. It's quiet here.
Yeah.
Quiet isn't a bad thing. You got to get the right free agents.
Hey, Cease, I just got your answer on Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
As it happened, right? That's what we call hitting the post in radio. He is going to the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
3 years, $100 million.
Ooh. 3 for $100
How much guaranteed?
million.
55.
That's not as much as I thought.
Let me rephrase it. Adam Schefter says 3 years, 110 and a half, 55 guaranteed.
So just half of the contract guaranteed. Okay, Sam Darnold.
You're still getting a hell of a payday, and that's the team trying to protect themselves.
Well, and what the hell was Minnesota thinking with the whole, we just might bring Darnold back? What? Really? You have J.J. McCarthy. So get him out there and then skull Vikings.
So it's Seattle gets Sam.
Yeah.
Who's he going to throw to now? He's just going to turn around and hand it off?
Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to have 150 catches this year.
Did you hear the cornerback making fun of him because all he does is cry to the referee?
Yeah.
On Friday, that was kind of fun
great.
too. So that leaves. Well, now Minnesota's going to turn
now
to
do
JJ.
The Steelers go to Aaron Rodgers? Is that what we're looking at?
Is that the only team left?
Justin Fields, reports coming out saying Justin Fields will not commit to the Pittsburgh Steelers unless they guarantee he's the quarterback one.
Oh, so he doesn't want to go battle it out with Russ again. Well, dude, if you get to training camp and it's Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers, spoiler alert, guess who wins?
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're the Steelers, all right, you got DK Metcalf, but who's throwing on the ball? That's the main thing. So, again, the NFL's super, super busy. Broncos not real busy, although I'm sure they're, interviewing, medically examining Evan Ingram. And let's go, man. No one talks more about Bo Lowry than this show. Bo Lowry, you are the key, because if you're bargain bin shopping, whether now I'm just going to call him Topanga. Thanks, Kev. Your mic's hot, by the way.
I know.
I found her Instagram since the last time Kevin said her name. Encourage you guys to check it out as well.
I'm on it.
Done and done. Kev meets world?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. That's what it was growing up.
That's our hope, is that Kevin meets the world.
Kev meets the flea market?
One way or the other.
Yeah, forget Twitter. You ain't getting the flea market on Twitter, Kev.
No, Twitter's, we don't want it there.
Except for that one Sicily or whatever.
Yeah, Kevin
on Twitter.
Was
Did you follow her?
No, I forgot her name.
She had the Bo Nix highlight.
I know, I forgot her name. I wasn't paying that close of attention.
Sicily something or other.
Did you see they went back and
Did they fix
the
it?
mistake?
Oh, no. Now how are we ever going to find her again?
I don't know. But it was fun to see them interacting. I was like, I want to interact too, but I can't. It was fun on Friday.